There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the plans collapse, the doors shut, and the world seems deaf to your prayers. You've tried everything, worked harder, prayed deeper, and waited longer. Yet nothing seems to move. It's in that silence, in that unbearable stillness, that something sacred begins to happen. You see, we've been conditioned to believe that control is safety, that if we just plan enough, predict enough, and perform enough, life will bend to our will. But then, life shatters that illusion. A relationship ends. A job is lost. A dream is delayed. And suddenly, all your logic, all your effort, all your control mean nothing. In that space between trying and surrendering, you discover something far greater than yourself. Tawakkul, the power of trust, the kind of trust that isn't passive but alive, the kind that says, I will give my all, but the outcome, that belongs to Allah. Tawakkul is not giving up, it's giving over. It's letting go of the illusion that you were ever in control in the first place. And when you truly understand that, when your heart finally releases the need to predict the how, when, and why life begins to unfold in ways you never could have imagined. So today, I want to take you on a journey deep into the power of tawakkul. Because once you understand it, your anxiety turns to peace, your fear turns to strength, and your waiting turns into worship. Tawakkul begins with action. It starts when a believer stands up, takes every possible step, and still knows deep in their heart that success never comes from effort alone. It comes only from Allah. We are not asked to sit and wait for miracles. We are asked to move, to plant the seed, to water the soil, and to trust that Allah will make it grow. That is the essence of balance in faith, using the means while keeping your heart anchored to the one who controls those means. When we look at the life of the Prophet, we see a beautiful example of this balance. During the Hijrah, he prepared carefully. He didn't simply walk into danger and say, Allah will protect me. No, he planned the road, chose a companion of truth, hid in the cave, and even left food and water behind. He did everything that was humanly possible. Yet, when the enemies stood right outside the cave, he didn't panic. He didn't say, "What will happen to me?" He looked at his companion and said with full serenity, "Do not be sad. Indeed, Allah is with us." This moment shows us that tawakkul is not about what you do with your hands. It's about what you hold in your heart. It's not laziness covered in religious language. It's not, "I'll do nothing and expect Allah to do everything." It's doing everything within your reach, while believing that the result is never in your hands. and being at peace with that. When we forget this balance, we fall into two traps. Some people act without trust. They rely only on their intelligence, their connections, or their effort. And when things fail, they collapse because their faith was never in Allah. It was in their own power. Others, on the opposite side, claim trust but take no action. They say, if Allah wants, it will happen, while ignoring the responsibility Allah placed upon them to strive. Both extremes miss the truth. Real tawakkul is the bridge between these two worlds, between striving and surrender. It's waking up every morning and saying, Ya Allah, I will do my best today, but I place the outcome in your hands. It's sitting in an exam and studying hard, but knowing your result is decreed. It's working for a job, sending applications, preparing well, but remembering that provision is written by Allah alone. When you live with this mindset, a new kind of peace enters your life. You no longer drown in anxiety over the things you can't control. You no longer fear what tomorrow holds, because you know who holds tomorrow. Tawakkul gives your effort meaning and your surrender purpose. It frees you from the illusion that your worth depends on results. It teaches you that success is not the final outcome. Success is doing your best while trusting your Lord completely. So keep striving, keep believing, take every step, but let your heart rest in the one who never fails those who trust him. Because once you walk that bridge between effort and surrender, you'll realize that every outcome, even the ones you didn't plan, were never mistakes. They were divine designs, written with wisdom and mercy beyond what you can see. Tawakkul shines brightest in the moments when life feels uncertain, when the path ahead is hidden, and when your heart is trembling between fear and hope. It's easy to trust Allah when things are going smoothly, when the doors open effortlessly, and when the answers arrive on time. But the real test of trust begins when everything feels dark, when your prayers seem unanswered, and when your soul whispers, "What now?" That's the point where true tawakkul is born, not in comfort, but in confusion. Imagine Prophet Musa standing at the edge of the Red Sea. Behind him, Pharaoh's army is approaching with full force. In front of him, an endless body of water. By every human measure, there is no escape. Panic spreads among his people, hearts filled with fear, minds clouded by despair. But what does Musa say? "Indeed, my Lord is with me. He will guide me." That one sentence captures the essence of faith. He didn't know how, he didn't see the way, but he trusted that Allah did. And within moments, the impossible became possible. The sea split, and the path appeared. This is what happens when a believer puts full trust in Allah, even when logic says there's no way forward. Tawakkul is not blind optimism, it is clarity through surrender. It's acknowledging that our knowledge is limited, but Allah's wisdom is infinite. Sometimes Allah hides the path not to punish us, but to protect us. He delays the answers not to test our patience, but to strengthen our hearts. When you are in that place where you cannot see what's next, remind yourself that Allah sees what you cannot. When something is taken away from you, it's because something greater is being prepared. When a door closes, it's because it was never meant to be part of your story. Our hearts break because we assume we've been abandoned, but in reality, we're being redirected toward something better. Tawakkul is choosing to say, Alhamdulillah, even when your eyes see loss, because your heart knows that Allah's plan is still perfect. It's when you raise your hands in dua and say, Ya Allah, I don't understand, but I still trust you. That kind of faith transforms pain into peace and fear into strength. Every believer who walked the path of truth had to face moments of uncertainty. Maryam cried out in despair under the palm tree before the miracle came. Yunus called out from the belly of the whale before relief was granted. Each of them had to reach the point of surrender before Allah opened the way. So when you find yourself standing before your own Red Sea, when you don't know what to do next, remember the lesson. The sea will not open for those who panic. It opens for those who trust. Keep moving, keep praying, keep believing. Because the one who guided the staff of Musa can guide your steps too. Fear is one of the heaviest emotions a human heart can carry. It whispers doubts, magnifies uncertainties, and convinces you that you are standing alone. But tawakkul, true trust in Allah, comes as a shield that quiets those whispers and replaces fear with faith. It does not remove the challenges of life, but it changes the way you face them. When your heart is anchored in tawakkul, the storms may still rage, but they no longer shake you to your core. You begin to understand that what was written for you will never miss you, and what missed you was never meant for you. The source of most of our fear is the belief that our safety, our future, or our success lies in the hands of people or circumstances. We fear losing jobs, relationships, opportunities, as if they are the ones who sustain us. But tawakkul reminds us that everything we fear losing was only ever a means. The real provider, the real protector is Allah. When you internalize this truth, fear begins to lose its power. You stop chasing after what's temporary and start seeking the one who is eternal. The Prophet said, "If you rely upon Allah with true reliance, He would provide for you as He provides for the birds. They leave their nests hungry in the morning and return full in the evening. This simple image carries a deep lesson. The bird doesn't sit in its nest and wait for sustenance. It flies, it searches, it works, but it never panics. It doesn't worry about where its next meal will come from, because it trusts in the one who provides for all creation. That is the heart of Tawakkul. To move through life with effort and responsibility, but without the burden of constant fear. That fear is heavy because it tries to make you play the role of God, to control outcomes, to guarantee results. But when you surrender that control, when you remember that Allah is al-Wakil, the best disposer of affairs, you finally exhale. You stop overthinking every detail of your future. You stop replaying every failure in your mind. That's not enough. You begin to rest in the knowledge that nothing slips through the hands of the one who holds the heavens and the earth. And this trust doesn't make you careless. It makes you courageous. When you believe that Allah is with you, you walk differently. You speak with more confidence. You make decisions without fear of people's opinions. You live in peace, knowing that your sustenance, your dignity, and your success are all under His command. So, when fear begins to rise in your heart, don't fight it with panic. Fight it with remembrance. Say, Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illa huwa. Remind yourself that Allah is sufficient. Fear fades when faith speaks. And the more you trust, the lighter your heart becomes, until you finally reach a place where fear no longer rules you, because tawakkul has taken its place. Patience is one of the hardest virtues to practice, especially when the heart is waiting for something deeply desired. An answered prayer, a breakthrough, or relief from pain. Waiting can feel endless, and every passing day can test your hope. But when that waiting is infused with tawakkul, it transforms from a struggle into an act of worship. It becomes no longer about counting the days until your dua is answered, but about finding peace in knowing that Allah's timing is never late. Tawakkul teaches us that Allah's delay is not a denial, it's a design, one that holds wisdom we may not yet see. When we truly trust Allah, patience stops feeling like punishment. It becomes a journey of surrender. The believer understands that Allah sees the entire picture, while we only see fragments. He knows the right moment, the right place, and the right condition for everything to unfold. Sometimes what we ask for immediately could harm us if given too soon. Sometimes the delay is a mercy that shapes us, humbles us, and prepares our hearts for what's coming. Think of a seed planted deep in the soil. It's buried in darkness for weeks, sometimes months, before it sprouts. During that time, it's not dead. It's growing roots. Likewise, when Allah keeps you in a season of waiting, He's building your roots. He's strengthening your faith, deepening your trust, and cleansing your intentions. That's not enough. And the hidden growth happening in patience is often greater than the blessing you're waiting for. Look at Prophet Yusuf. Years passed in separation, betrayal, and prison. From the outside, it looked like everything was going wrong. But every chapter of that story was preparing him for greatness. If he hadn't been betrayed, he wouldn't have entered Egypt. If he hadn't been imprisoned, he wouldn't have met the king's men. Every delay was a divine setup leading to his rise. This is what Tawakkul teaches. To trust the pauses, not just the progress. When you live with Tawakkul, your heart rests even while you wait. You continue to work, to put in effort. But you stop demanding that things happen on your timeline. You shift from saying, "When will it happen?" to, "Whenever Allah decides, I'll be ready." That mindset changes everything. It removes the bitterness from waiting and replaces it with gratitude for the process. Every moment of patience is seen by Allah. Every tear you hide, every prayer you repeat, every sigh of exhaustion, He hears it all. And He promises in the Quran, indeed, Allah is with the patient. That means you are never waiting alone. So, the next time you feel stuck in waiting, remind yourself your delay is not forgotten. It's sacred time. It's the season where Allah is writing the perfect story for you. Keep your faith steady, your heart soft, and your tongue in remembrance. Because when Allah finally opens the door, you'll look back and realize the waiting was never wasted. It was preparing you for exactly what you prayed for. Pain is an inevitable part of life. Every one of us will face moments of loss, disappointment, and heartbreak that shake us to our core. But Tawakkul, trust in Allah, gives that pain a higher meaning. It transforms what could destroy you into something that refines you. Pain is not the end of your story. It's a turning point that calls you back to your Creator. It's often in our most painful moments that we feel the presence of Allah the strongest. When everything else fails, when no one seems to understand, your heart naturally turns to the one who never leaves. That's the hidden mercy within pain. It brings you back to the one who heals. When a believer faces hardship with tawakkul, the pain doesn't vanish, but it becomes lighter. You begin to see your suffering as part of your divine journey, not as a punishment, but as preparation. The Prophet said, "No fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for that. This means every tear, every sleepless night, every heartbreak carries meaning. Nothing you endure is wasted when you endure it with faith. Think about how gold is purified. It must go through fire before it shines. Similarly, the heart of a believer is purified through trials. Without pain, we would never learn compassion. Without loss, we would never appreciate gratitude. Without hardship, we would never taste the sweetness of patience. Tawakkul helps you reinterpret pain. It allows you to say, La Allah, I may not understand this now, but I know it's part of your mercy. Many times, what feels like a painful ending is actually a divine redirection. Perhaps that job you lost was saving you from arrogance. Perhaps that relationship that ended was protecting your deen. Perhaps that failure you cried over was steering you towards something far greater. Tawakkul allows you to step back and see your pain through the eyes of trust. Rather than despair, when Prophet Ayyub was tested with illness, isolation, and loss, he never lost faith. He didn't say, "Why me?" He said, "Indeed, adversity has touched me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful." Even in the depth of suffering, he still praised Allah. That is the heart of Tawakkul, to remain connected to your Creator when everything else seems broken. Pain with Tawakkul becomes a teacher. It teaches humility, patience, and surrender. It softens your heart and reminds you that nothing in this world is permanent. Only Allah remains. So when hardship strikes, don't run from it. Run through it with faith. Say, "Wa Allah, if you brought me to it, I know you will bring me through it." Because in the end, every pain that once made you cry will become the reason you smile. Not because the pain was easy, but because you'll realize it carried you closer to Allah. That is the quiet miracle of Tawakkul. It turns wounds into wisdom and trials into transformation. My dear brothers and sisters, Tawakkul is not just a word we recite. It is a way of life. It is the deep, unshakable trust that flows from a heart that knows Allah never makes mistakes. When you live with Tawakkul, you stop fighting the flow of life and start moving with it. You begin to see every test, every delay, and every heartbreak not as a curse, but as a call. A call to come closer to the One who knows you better than you know yourself. Tawakkul doesn't mean your life will suddenly become easy. It means you will find peace even when it's not. It means that when you lose something, you won't lose yourself. It means that when the world around you shakes, your heart remains firm because it's anchored in Allah. When you trust Him completely, you begin to taste a kind of serenity that this world cannot offer. The peace that comes from knowing that everything is unfolding with divine wisdom, even when it hurts. So, if you are in a season of struggle, don't despair. If you are waiting for something to change, don't lose hope. If you are carrying pain that no one else can see, know that Allah does. Every tear is recorded, every prayer is heard, and every trial has a purpose. Sometimes Allah removes things from your life not to break you, but to make space for something far better. Trust that every chapter, the joy, the sorrow, the confusion, is written by the most merciful author, who only writes what will bring you closer to Him. Tawakkul is that bridge that carries you from fear to faith, from chaos to calm, from questioning to contentment. When you truly surrender your affairs to Allah, you no longer chase control. You chase connection. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "What is Allah teaching me through this?" That shift changes everything. It turns ordinary days into moments of worship and painful tests into opportunities for growth. So tonight, make a quiet promise to your heart that no matter what tomorrow brings, you will trust the one who never fails. You will put in the effort. You will make your dua, and then you will release the outcome into His hands. Because Allah never disappoints the one who relies upon Him sincerely. That is the truest power of Tawakkul. The peace that blooms in surrender, the strength that rises from trust, and the light that shines even in the darkest night. If this message touched your heart, don't let it stop with you. Share it with someone who needs to be reminded that Allah's plan is always perfect. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartfelt reminders that strengthen your faith, calm your soul, and bring your heart closer to Allah.